Hello, 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 hello. Is it really true that I'm live right now? That's exciting. This is my first live, obviously, if you're here with me, that I have done. But this is not showing live. Oh, I have to watch an ad. This is crazy, you guys. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Thermoclear for genital herpes symptoms.
Oh, good. We get to watch that live on here. Okay. This is so cool. This is so cool. And I'm probably just going to keep saying this over and over. But yes. Okay. So can someone send me a message to make sure that, send me a comment here to make sure that you can actually see me talking? Yes, that would be awesome. And, like hear me and see me and care. If you're watching this after the fact, like if this got recorded and uploaded successfully, then A, congrats to me. Glad I figured that out. And B, I'm so glad that you're here. Hey, thank you, Lawrence. You can see me and hear me. And Michaela, thank you. There's definitely something very one-sided about just talking and like hoping that people can hear you. So thank you. Okay. So today we are okay. See, I'm gonna learn, you guys. I can like put your comments up on the screen. So thank you to Lawrence and Michaela. I'm going to definitely remember to do that. Okay. Good. Today, I am reviewing your submissions. I am so excited that you guys took part in this. This was like a really fun challenge for me to do, just because I like challenging myself, if you haven't got that vibe from me and my channel yet. And excuse me. Hey, just sub. Hi. I wanted to do it kind of for myself as a challenge. And then obviously I wanted to hopefully inspire you guys. So I'm really glad that a couple of you went through and actually sent your submissions over. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to read through them, share them, kind of give some thoughts and feedback. As I mentioned in the actual video itself, this is not my area of writing expertise. Like these are all things that were challenges for me. So I'm not going to say that I'm like the expert on any of these styles of writing, but I do think that we can work together to kind of get a couple, comments or improvements or something helpful. Hello, Deb. Thanks for being here. And Malsan, it's super tiny. Malchan, thank you for being here as well. I also see Anne, if I didn't pop that up yet. Michaela's here. Teddy was here. I'm assuming that they're still here. This is all very exciting. Yay. Okay. So going through, I went through and pulled them out. We're going to start with Deborah. She said that she'd been subscribed for a few weeks as of when this video came out, which was even a couple weeks ago now. So you were like almost at the 2-month mark. That's exciting. Hey, Dan, thank you for being here. Oh, and if you haven't watched the video, I mean, go do that. But in a nutshell, this whole stupid challenge, hey, Jessica, is about this random coffee maker that I found on Amazon. I wanted it to just be like a super basic, like easy to make it whatever you want kind of topic or brief. And so it's a Smeg coffee maker. Actually, let me see really quick if I can pull it up without being obnoxious. Smeg coffee maker, blue. And if it will be obnoxious, then we're just going to not do that. But I think I found it right now. Okay. Now can I figure out how to share that screen? Maybe. That's the question. Probably not. I don't know. Okay. Oh, you know what I can do though? Here, I'm super smart, you guys, and I'm going to figure this out right now. This doesn't even matter. But here we go. Okay, this is the coffee maker that is our little joy, our inspiration, the Smeg. And again, as I mentioned, I'm not like promoting this product. I have no experience with it. I've never tried it. It just looked cute, and that was enough for me to pick it. So that's what the inspiration is, just to get everybody on the same track. And quick side note, Malshan said that they received their first order under my guidance, and thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear that. That's really exciting. Okay. Deborah, back to the task at hand. I can't get distracted, you guys. Okay. Her short story. So I'm going to read it. I'm probably going to like stop and talk a bunch, but we'll see how this goes. As she sipped her morning coffee, Beverly couldn't help but reminisce about the marvelous trip she once took with her grandparents through the West on historic Route 66 in 1955. Kind of a cute little intro. They had gotten off to quite an early start from their quaint motor lodge on the second morning of their trip. I would put second, and I would also make this a new paragraph because now she's like in story mode. Hey, Oshada, thanks for being here. They had gotten off to an early start from their quaint motor lodge on the second morning of their trip and drove through a stretch of mountains mingled with desert terrain. Very descriptive. Quick, tiny side note, I'm not going to mention this again. The most common modern punctuation is to only have one space after a period. And what I've heard is that actually comes from typewriting. So if you are like an older writer or you grew up at all with typewriting, or even just someone who like a teacher who, sorry, I said a banana like a minute ago and it's literally killing my throat. If you grew up with a teacher who had typewriting experience, they may have taught you to put two spaces after period because that was like typewriter format for clarity. But now across the board, modern, we're only using one space. So a little side note. I see that a lot with like people who are older than me. It seemed they were the only ones traveling, and it looked as if they would never find a place to stop. The young Beverly began to grow restless in the car, and hunger pangs overtook her. So that makes sense. Like she's reminiscing about herself, so she's saying the young Beverly, but it might be better if it was like in first person, like I remember, or I don't know. It seems like an odd, I don't know yet. That's a little bit of an odd narrator shift. The young Beverly began to grow restless in the car, and hunger pangs overtook her. She was quickly becoming moody. She was quickly becoming feels like too many, what are they called? Adverbs. Honestly, I get really self-conscious about like describing grammar and stuff because I don't use the right lingo. Like I know how to do it and I don't always know like how to classify it in like I have a master's degree in English kind of way. So if I say something wrong, just know that I mean well. But she was quickly becoming moody. I would rephrase as like, and she became moody, or the hunger made her mood shift, or something like more active. Quite suddenly, her grandfather pointed out that the pink Cadillac diner was just up ahead with an array of hearty breakfast foods and piping hot coffee. Quite suddenly feels, again, a little either like unnecessary or too adverby, if that actually is the right word. Because you're relating it to she quickly became moody, and then the grandfather said this is ahead. Is that because he noticed she was in a bad mood, that she was like hangry, and that he wanted to bring the diner up, or that it just happened to be on the road when they were driving? It feels a little bit like unnatural, I would say. As they pulled into the parking lot, Beverly admired the beautiful grand cars lined up outside the diner. I try not to say beautiful if I can get away with it. I try to say something a little bit more tangible or like specific. When they entered the diner, she could smell the pancakes cooking and the coffee brewing. She was enticed by the bold curves of the coffee maker with its large flat buttons, the shiny laminate flooring, and the sleek diner tables and vinyl covered chairs. I would say, so I try to never repeat those little words if I can help it. So even just saying in this list, laminate flooring and the sleek diner tables with vinyl covered chairs. Just that little detail makes your lists flow so much better. And again, like just anytime you can avoid repetition is ideal. Beverly didn't normally drink coffee, but it was a special trip with her grandparents, and she indulged in a strong cup of black coffee. So again, like the word coffee in the sentence twice obviously is important to the sentence, but like how could we not repeat the word? Beverly didn't normally drink coffee, but it was a special trip with her grandparents, so she indulged. That would be fine. And you can just simplify this sentence that way. Also, is she with both grandparents? I thought she was just with her grandpa. Did I read that wrong? Oh, well, maybe we've only met grandpa. It was very bitter, but she so wanted to savor the morning with her grandparents and didn't complain. It would be like She wanted to savor the morning with her grandparents, comma, so she didn't complain. Because that's related to she wanted to savor, so she's doing something else. The eggs, bacon, and pancakes quickly satisfied her hungry stomach, and the three of them were soon off to the next part of their adventure. Good. Oh my gosh, Yusuf, are you joking? Thank you for my first ever super chat. That's so annoying. Did I say annoying? Rewarding, exciting. What word am I trying to say? Thank you, Yusuf. That's so nice of you. Continuing, Beverly's thoughts suddenly came back to the present moment when she heard a knock on her door. Wow. So for like formatting wise, I would either put like an extra space or I don't know, something, because the going back from like, oh, she's reminiscing to like right now, how is there any way that we can make that more of a separate idea than a sudden stark surprise to be like, oh, now we're present. That's surprising. Beverly's thoughts suddenly came back to the present moment when she heard a knock on her door. The Amazon delivery driver, good way to like instantly make a stark distinction from like 1950s to today. The Amazon delivery driver had finally arrived with the package she had been waiting for. She quickly opened it. Again, like quickly, there's got to be a better way to say that. She, tore open the packaging, or she ripped the box apart, or she, something like that would have actually like more meaning to it and more descriptive value than just the adverb. She quickly opened it to reveal the new ice blue. I would put new, comma, ice blue, because those are like, it's the new Smeg 50s retro coffee maker, and it's an ice blue Smeg coffee maker. The only time I wouldn't have a comma there is if ice blue Smeg is all one thing, like the noun is all that together. Hopefully that makes sense. The new ice blue Smeg 50s retro coffee maker. And there's not a reason this should be capitalized if the rest of it isn't. If it was, like this was all the title of the product, then it would all be capitalized. A wave of nostalgia overtook her as she placed it on the counter next to her vintage Coca-Cola sign. That's cute. The Smeg was a perfect compliment to her. So compliment in this case, and I always get it wrong, so I have to double check, but it would be complement, because complementary as in they balance and go together, versus complimentary as in like free or, helpful. The perfect complement to her checkered kitchen floor and pastel curtains. Also, side note, I mentioned this in a previous video at some point over like the past 2 years I've been doing this, but one of the best ways to double check if you're using the right variation of a word that's really similar is to just go into synonyms really fast, and then you can see which one. So I can see right now that this complement is the balance version, versus if I have compliment and I go to synonyms, and all of a sudden it's like the flattering, praising, free version. It reminded her so much of the special breakfast with her grandparents many years ago at that quaint diner on Route 66. She knew the Smeg was the perfect addition to her kitchen and a reminder of the special time. So again, like big picture, if we stretch out just a sec, it reminded her, and it was a reminder. We don't need to say that twice. There's got to be some better way of saying it, even if it's just like it holds like an emotional weight, or that was not a good example, but some other way that we can say the same thing, not twice, and get more value out of it. I'm like a pretty minimalistic writer, I'd say. So anytime that I can add more depth or value or meaning or like tangible, this makes you feel a certain way, like that's what's best to write. Now her own kitchen diner was complete. And if you want to do that, it would just be one quote, because you're like, it's a diner. I know we do this. It's a diner, but in like written word, it would be, it's a diner. Or what I might do is do italics. That's way more of a style thing. And I love italics, so I do way too much of them. But her own kitchen diner was complete. And she couldn't wait to share it with her own grandchildren, who were on their way to her house for eggs, pancakes, and a cup of coffee. I would split this sentence because the back end of it is so much longer than the front end. So just in terms of like how we speak with natural phrasing, it feels like if the front half of the sentence is short, I'm kind of expecting it to not go on very much longer. And I almost ran out of breath saying that, versus if I see that I have a long sentence stretched in front of me and there's a little tag at the end, just reversing that feels a little more normal. I don't know. I like to think about how it sounds to like conversationally speak it. Or you could say, now that her own kitchen diner was complete, she couldn't wait. And then those two sentences, like with the that, then you know that there's more coming in the sentence. But I would almost say now her own kitchen diner was complete, or like the SMEG completed her kitchen, because again, you want to make that the focus of the very end, kind of tie it all in. Excuse me. And then she couldn't wait to share it, or her grandchildren were on the way and she was excited to share, to turn on the SMEG coffee maker while they ate their eggs and pancakes, something like that. Just a little more direct in how we phrase the language. Cool. Okay. So this was cute. It's a little short story. We've got the retro theme coming through loud and clear, and that was really cute. So for her tweet, Deb said, got a nifty 50s kitchen. Get our retro look to complete your retro look. Daddy-o. Vintage coffee look. Hashtag diner style coffee, hashtag 50s kitchen inspo. So little note here, if you're in hashtag mode, you can't use punctuation in the hashtag, otherwise the hashtag breaks. So this would just show up as like 50, and then that parenthesis or apostrophe that you just put in would have broken the hashtag. So it's important to note. Okay, I honestly don't get the tweet. I'll be honest. I like the our retro look for your retro look. Thank you, Michaela, for translating the daddy-o is great. I mean, I got that like from context clues, and it's like vintage language. I get it. Excuse my dog while he barks at someone walking by, because he can't just be quiet. I think there's got to be a better way. And again, retro, I don't know why retro is capitalized by you, so we're just going to change that. Get our retro something. Maybe even if you just didn't repeat look, get our retro device is not the right word that I'm looking for here, but we're going to stick with it. Get our retro device to complete your retro kitchen. Like, I feel in my gut, I just hate repetition, that even doing that we still get the repetitive, like, our retro, your retro, connecting the dots. Like, that's awesome. And then it has a little bit more grip to it. And if you're going to do, I'm not going to spend too much more time on this. If you're going to do hashtags like this that seem general, like I would say that, and I am not a social media marketing expert, so take this all with a grain of salt. I would, if you're doing more generic hashtags that are meant to like get it a wider reach, like vintage coffee, I would just stick with vintage coffee, because that will have way more like hashtag links to it, and it's not brand specific. Yeah, and like here I would just put like diner coffee. Again, would be, because it's generic enough that it's not brand specific. It's not like SMEG diner coffee. That's only going to pull up SMEG results. But here we can just get a little bit more reach to it. So you just kind of have to decide if it's specific to the brand in order to like build a hashtag like web that would only show up for the brand and that is like style specific, or if your goal is to like expand connections, in which case it needs to be more general in order to get bigger reach. Okay, the instruction manual she's got next. So get ready to enjoy an awesome morning with this SMEG 50s retro style aesthetic drip filter coffee machine. I would put retro style as linked in an adjective together. I also wouldn't, is this the name of, I closed my window. Is this the name that they have on the Amazon thing? And that's why you said it, maybe. Oh, thanks, Deb. And yeah, like I said, these are all new for me too. So I'm totally in your field here. Retro style drip filter coffee machine. And here we can think about, this isn't probably going to be, if it's an instruction manual, it'll probably be printed. So like SEO, search engine optimization, and keywords isn't as important, because obviously if it's printed, it's not going on the internet to be archived and used for keywords. But I think that coffee machine is actually not as strong of a keyword as coffee maker. and I would double check that. But, and if I knew how to put up another window, I would, but I don't. As I've mentioned before, searchvolume.io, I can just write it here, is like my absolute gem of a keyword tool. It's so simple. It's completely free. You just plug in a giant list of your keyword ideas and options. Like if you're brainstorming, you're going through other competitors and you're pulling out all the keywords they're using. And then you can see, because it'll pop up and you're like, oh, wow, coffee maker ranks 3 times higher than coffee machine or coffee device. I can't think of a third one. But you get the gist. So just being aware of like what's the most common or popular way to describe something is really helpful to know. Okay, sorry for that aside. Each carafe brewed can be customized to a light or dark roast option. Okay, so I would not include this if it was me. Big delete button, because this is the instruction manual. So again, the point of this writing being so different than the other types of writing that we've done in this little challenge is that this is just pure clarity. Like when we write an instruction manual or technical writing of any kind, we're not in the marketing mode really anymore. We're in like user-friendly support mode. So place the Smeg 50s coffee machine. So again, this, I'm so sorry if you can hear my dog, which I'm sure you can. This doesn't have to be said because they've already bought it. So like place the coffee maker. I mean, like place the device, place whatever. But we're not in marketing mode. Place the coffee maker on a flat surface. We don't want to use whatever the heck this is called. Isn't it called passive voice? And just say, and make sure. And feel is a really subjective word, especially in technical writing. Does it feel secure? Like just say like a flat surface. I would just say flat surface. I mean, yeah, you don't want to make it extra complicated in a way that like could create confusion. Okay. Locate the power on switch on the right side of the button panel. Does it say power on? See, again, I should just pull up that thing again. Let me do that so I can check what the, oh, that wasn't even the right thing. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, locate the power on switch. If it doesn't say power on, as in it like has the words power on, then I would say power switch or the switch on the right side of the button panel to power on the device. The green light, which does not need to be capitalized, indicates, I would say that. I'm a lover of the word that. I just feel like it fits more with natural flow of language, that the unit is on. When I write technical writing, which is not very common, I like to use lots of verbs that make it like a task. So it would be like, look for the green light that indicates that the unit is on. You're locating the switch, you're looking for the light, rather than just like saying descriptions. I don't know. Fill the water reservoir shouldn't be capitalized. You love capitals that don't need to be there. Fill the water reservoir to full. Is this like the full line, I assume? And like, where is that line? It's on the water reservoir, but it would maybe like to the printed, because then you're like, oh, it's a printed line that I'm looking for on the water reservoir. Like, how can you like identify or preview mistakes that someone could be having when they're like, where is the full line? It's printed on the water reservoir. That's what they're looking for. Then choose the preferred brewing option of 4 cups up to 10 cups. So where is this brewing option? Those are 2 like very separate parts of the device that they would be using. First, they were on the back of the device with the water reservoir. This should be like a whole new pass, because now they're going to a different part of the machine. They're trying to find buttons wherever those are. So it's like on the front, repeatedly click. I don't even know how this device works. The what would it be called? Like quantity button? I don't know. To set your, on the front of the device, repeatedly click, and I would like try to describe this button if I can. Repeatedly click, we're going to call it like, maybe it's a triangle. The triangular quantity button to set your preferred brewing option of 4, and then being ultra clear, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 cups, right? It feels like probably too stupid that you have to name those out. But, and you know, if someone doesn't like speak English entirely as their native language, or they're just confused and they're looking at that and they're thinking, oh, maybe I can only do 4 cups or 10 cups, up to isn't just as clear as possible. Bulletproof clear. And then select light or dark roast option. Where is that button, you guys? On the, with the toggle on the right side of the device, right? So that's what I mean by like, when I approach something like this, how can I be so stupidly bulletproof that they literally could not be confused? And just, I don't need to be fixing this. This is silly. How could they not be confused? And how can I preemptively forecast things that like even I might not be confused about, but I think you might be confused about. Okay. And then with this kind of instruction manual thing, I would make them much smaller tasks. Like the little paragraph that I deleted was all about like how to do light or dark roast. And this is literally going to take me forever if I am this detailed. I need to hurry it up. If you're that detailed, it should be individual tasks, because then all of a sudden this goes into like brewing with your keep warm button and all that stuff and the aroma intensity level, but that's not really what they needed to know. They needed to know how to set the light or dark roast. Okay, moving the heck along. Radio script. Okay, this is the least in my comfort zone, so we're gonna do what we can. Am I the only one who's getting tired of all that white farmhouse kitchen look? I love this opening. I think it's so clever. I would, anytime we can be more specific if we can, right? So farmhouse shiplap chic, or like boho chic, or the what's it even called, farmhouse, there's another thing that there's like a term for that, but you know, look is like the most generic word that we can just chuck out of our vocabulary. I don't know about you, but I could use a change. Why not stand out with black checkered tile floors, pastel curtains, vintage signage, space, vinyl chairs, maybe a mini jukebox, and the perfect appliance to complete your 50s kitchen makeover. So, like I said, I'm not a radio writer, but if we could be more creative with our punctuation to translate the inflection that we want to have, I think that would be better. So like how I read that sentence, I think is what you meant, but that's not how the punctuation implies. Again, not a radio writer. If someone is, tell me I'm wrong. But I would say, why not stand out with black checkered tile floors, pastel curtains, vintage signage, vinyl chairs, ... because it's like you're like trailing off and then you have a new idea. Maybe a mini jukebox. Oh, and the perfect appliance to complete your 50s kitchen makeover, hyphen or dash or M dash or whatever the heck you want to call it. This Smeg 50s retro style aesthetic kitchen coffee maker. I don't know why I said the word kitchen. Right. So that fits. The punctuation forces me to read it in a way that you actually want it to be read, instead of just having a list that would be way more open to interpretation and theoretically could be read not as you want. Okay. And then we've got some just like list of features. Any member of the family can get the morning going with this sleek retro style coffee maker with brewing options that please everyone. Your retro. So we've said retro a ton. I would see how we can, didn't we say it up here too? Maybe not. Again, how do we not repeat ourselves over and over? You can be more creative in your descriptions. Your retro nostalgic, this would be a related adjective. The nostalgic inspired kitchen will get a style boost with your Smeg 50s retro, again, style coffee machine. Displayed on the counter to complement your decor. Yeah, so it's all just kind of like rambly, I would say, if I'm being a little bit critical. It's very repetitive. I liked the opening a lot of like, we've seen, and it, I'm going to rephrasing this, I feel like is a little more interesting. Like, I have seen 15 shiplap kitchens, a white shiplap and subway tile kitchens in the past week. Can we move on? Like something a little bit more like, punchy or just like more down to earth, like how someone would actually complain about something and then be like, I want to see something different. Let's step back in time. Let's think laminate flooring, checkers, blah, blah, blah. Like make it punchier. And then order this Amazon's Choice coffee maker on Amazon today. Would not be the best radio. Geez, I can't talk. Radio plug at the end because they are not on their computer. So like repeating the name of the product, I would think, and repeating an easily memorable way to access it, like at smeg.com, because they're not going to go to Amazon and be like, what the heck was that coffee maker called that was on the radio the other day? That's just like not direct enough for this medium. Okay. Dear Lord, someone shut me up. Okay. Thank you so much, Deborah, for the suggestions. We're moving on to Anne. Anne has also been subscribed for a few weeks. And I copied it out here just so that I have everything in the same document, but she put these adorable little, like they're all in Canva and they all have these like beautiful title image pages and stuff. And so that's a cute little thing I just wanted to point out. Okay. Anne's turn for her short story. Smeg hopped along the marble kitchen counter with a tink, tink, tink in the modern. Anne says she's hiding now. Great. In the modern third floor apartment in the busy New York City suburb of, okay, so here again, I'm feeling a little bit like I get stuck in the sentence because we have repetition that there's got to be some better way to say it. With a tink, tink, tink in the modern third floor apartment of like, or like in, I said in again. You have to rework the sentence more than I'm going to, but how can we not say in again so that we keep the sentence rolling? We keep like where our momentum is with a different little word every single time. Here we go. Dan has a suggestion. He says, usually with script writing, you line break and add cues for things such as music fades up or insert coffee pouring. You've got to be more direct with radio scripts. Yes, I did not point that at all. We just had text and we didn't add any little like not visual, oh my God, sound cues or any like thing like that. Thanks, Dan. Okay. In the busy New York City suburb of, what had the family called it? And here, because this is what they're thinking, again, I might be wrong, but I would put this just in italics. Wondered Smeg. Manhattan. That was it, Manhattan. He'd been teaching himself to spell whilst watching the children doing their homework in the evening. So I'm American. We do not say whilst. I won't comment on that. And I would say they do. Watching the children do their homework. That morning, during their midweek breakfast routine, his human family had enjoyed a delicious-looking breakfast whilst Mom and Dad partook of their usual cup of coffee. Again, I just think there's got to be a different way to say partook because we don't say that in the majority of the world, or at least the American side of the world. So there's got to be some other way to just work around that word. That Smeg carefully kept at a consistent temperature of 170 with his extended keep warm time function. So just like Deborah, we are capitalizing things that I don't think need to be capitalized because it's not like a name that's like brand specific. And again, I would put just one apostrophe, just in case. Well, Smeg liked to think he was prepared for all emergencies. Although, of course, he wasn't quite sure what an emergency coffee situation would look like. He was certain he'd be ready when they needed him. He was certain, there's got to be a different way to say that more concisely, I would feel. So he wasn't quite sure what an emergency coffee situation would look like, but he'd certainly be ready when they needed him. Just, maybe a little more direct, how few words can we use and get the most punch. Hi, Merv. Thanks for being here. Mom had sipped delighted. Delighted? Mom had sipped on her sweet black coffee. I don't like that. Mom sipped her sweet black coffee with delight. I think that's how I say it. And Dad enjoyed. Is this past tense for a reason? I don't know. And Dad enjoyed his cup, whatever, with a splash of cream as a unique light aroma filled the air. I would maybe do this. Oops. Just split the sentence in half. But unique, one of the worst words on the planet. It doesn't say much. Both for a moment blissfully ignored the. Okay, so you're ignore the I can't find my and she took my pencil case shouts from blah blah blah. Okay, I don't want to get stuck in like the minutia of this, but from blissfully ignored the shouts, the children's shouts. Is my typing so loud in my mic because it's like right next to it? I don't know. I'm like slamming my keys for no good reasons. From the other room as they rush to get ready for school. I can't type. That's okay. And then I would say like, I can't find my did she take my pencil? I don't know. Like that's probably not even the right way to format this, but like you get what I'm saying? You can't reply. Cool. Okay, moving on. Just make it more direct. Dad glanced at his wristwatch, gulped down the last of his coffee, lightly pecked Mom on the cheek, and gave the kids a playful ruffle on the head before muttering, "Geez." That's geese. I'd say this, geez with a Z. 8:30 already. And again, I don't know if this was right, but I would say 8:30 because that's like how we write the time. 8:30 already. Okay, we're gonna skip a little bit of this until we get back to the coffee maker because the coffee maker is the reason why we're writing the story. World's best dad. Gently. Let's start the sentence at the beginning. Dad set his geese. Yeah. Dad set his world's best coffee cup gently down beside the light blue coffee machine and, for some unknown reason, patted the little blue machine on its, so again, we got repetition here, on its stylish retro white head. Stylish and retro, I get what you're doing. You're like describing it for like the brand style, but that doesn't really, it's not like how someone would genuinely describe it, or like it doesn't really add enough like realistic weight. Smeg remembered thinking that this is my favorite part. Smeg remembered thinking that had his anti-drip function not been upgraded at the factory, he may very well have cried. I love that. I think that's so cute. I do think that the sentence is kind of awkward, and that the first time I read it, I literally had to read it twice to get what you were saying, or like the pacing of how I read it was wrong. So again, think, how would someone naturally say this? If I was saying in a conversation, I remembered thinking I might have actually cried if the anti-jump function hadn't been upgraded at the factory. Like I would not put the I might have cried at the end of the sentence, because you have to like know where you're going so far in advance that the point you're trying to put earlier doesn't feel authentic. And again, maybe that's because I'm more of a like direct conversational writer than a like short story novelist, although I'm trying really hard to switch gears there. Just something to think about. Then seconds later, I would take out then, a few seconds later. Mom, I just don't like that this is in past tense. I really don't like that this is in past tense. Had wiped little Smeg clean, refilled him, and pressed the timer function. And then this should be something new. She, together with the kids, had rushed out the apartment door with laughter echoing down the hallway. That had been it. Morning routine completed. A job well done yet again by Smeg. By the way, I saw this and I forgot to bring it up. Thanks, Paul, for your comments. He left his little human family, but sometimes he felt, I would do this. Well, and then I would do this. But I'm like, no one agrees with my punctuation, but this is how I do. This is how I'd say it. But sometimes he felt, well, what was the word? lonely. And or maybe I do this. Ooh, because here we go, you guys. This is actually how I do it. This is how I say it. But sometimes he felt, well, what was the word? Lonely, right? That punctuation matches more closely how I'm actually going to say it. This is a little long. Okay. Smeg slumped his silver metallic bottom on the side of the kitchen bench and dangled his legs over the edge. I think that this is a UK word. In US, we'd say counter, not bench. I'm not saying you're wrong. Just a note. Then, taking great care not to topple over, he swung his legs back and forth. So, he thought, so we definitely shouldn't have spaces around that. As he gazed longingly out the window, what shall I do today? Count the cars, or maybe the birds? Smeg looked down at the busy street beneath the kitchen window and then up at the birds zipping through the blue sky above. Let's say overhead. I don't know. And this is a new idea. He liked the sky, but the street was so full of adventure. Was more bustling or something like that, because it just feels a little lackluster, lacking depth. Thank you, Daniel. That's so nice of you to say. You're a natural linguist. Oh, I try to be. Okay, cars it is then. He finally decided. 1, 2, 3, he began. It's going to be a very busy day today, I think. Here, I would make it more visual. 1, 2, 3. He watched as a slow line of clogged traffic. I'm not going to write that. I can type. I can talk faster. He watches a slow line of clogged traffic pushed through the street. It's going to be a busy day today, I think, right? Because then it would show more of the scene without relying strictly on Smeg's little viewpoint. Okay. So he's home. He's waiting for them to come home. He hops back to his corner. Beautiful. Oh, this is cute too. See, this personification details, the idea is really cute. It's really, really cute. He felt himself, oh my gosh, he felt a sense of warmth come over him as his automatic brewing feature came to life. That's cute. I love the personification. I think if we could trim a lot more of the other stuff out, that's just more mundane scene setting, which really doesn't have the oomph or the emotional wow factor that personification does, that would be more impactful and a little bit less boring in the parts that I'm skipping over. Just on time, Smeg whispered to himself before settling down for the evening. So people are chucking stuff around. Mom's carrying boxes. I'm not going to read this when I read through here. This has the least to do with the coffee maker. What have you got there, love? Dad nodded towards the boxes on the bench. I'm not 1000% sure on this, and I genuinely have to question myself all the time. I don't think it's towards. I'm pretty damn sure it's Dad nodded toward the boxes on the bench. But again, if anyone is a master's degree in English that you want to call me out, do it. The boxes hadn't gone unnoticed by Smeg either. While paying careful attention to his human family, he had been glancing momentarily. I don't know why that has a comma, because I paused there, right? I pause whenever there's a comma. So if you chuck a comma in there, it has to match the phrasing that you want the people to read with. He had been glancing. Oh, well, there's a comma before it that I missed. He had been glancing momentarily at the boxes beside him and had slowly been coming to a realization. Yeah, so those commas stopped me in my tracks for no good reason. The boxes had his name on them, SMEG. Yep, and I would say yup. I don't know if that's just an American thing, but I'd say yup or yep. But I would say yup. Definitely his name. And here, I would put a dash. And I don't know how to make my Mac make that as an M dash without me doing it like that. Okay. Was it his birthday? Smeg almost laughed out loud, thinking himself a little silly. So this again, it's the passive, talking about yourself in reverse, or anytime you have the ing, there's usually a way to say it otherwise. Because he is laughing out loud because, I don't know, whatever. You get the idea. Oh, whatever. Don't be silly. Comma, because he thought I would do it that way. Unfortunately, coffee machines don't have birthdays. Okay, we got to move. Blender, juicer, kettle, toaster, and mixer always use an Oxford comma forever and always. I'm not going to dive in my Oxford comma rant right now, but okay. Here we go. Dan's got the answer for us. Toward and towards are both correct. So you guys prefer the use of toward, I believe. Yes, we almost always say toward in America. Consistency is more important. Totally agree with that. So whatever you're going to do, just be on it and confident about it. So maybe I take back my comment about you. I don't know. I thought they'd look good together. They do. Okay, there you go, little bud. You've got your own family now. A puff of steam escaped Smig's spout. We always have to go boom because it's his spout. And little spits of water landed on the bench. They had his name on them. So they and them, we could be more clear of like the other devices also shared his name. Then we don't have like, who are they? What is them? How can we more be direct? They were all like him, a little different. But he could tell they were the same. They were all Smegs. Suddenly Smeg didn't feel so lonely anymore. Okay. I need to hurry it up. The personification idea, so cute. The scene setting and like this little coffee maker, like watching his little idyllic family go about their day, adorable. It doesn't make sense to me at the end why these other little Smeggies are not also personified. Like it would be super cute if we finished it with like the blender gave him a little wink, excuse me, out of the corner of his eye, like, because obviously the family's still around, so they're not going to like wander around and start talking to each other. But like, how could we give them personalities too? I think that would be a really cool finish, and it would just like keep the theme of this little short story a little more clear. Okay, continuing on. Dear God, you guys need to like just give me a comment every 5 minutes that says, hurry it up. Her tweet, thank you. I always knew I was the best looking one in the family, but Juicer doesn't believe me. So the but comma doesn't need to be there because I stopped, but Juicer doesn't believe me. Now I know I'm not imagining it. Totally blushing. Save the Smeg, join the family. I don't get the save the Smeg thing because what am I saving it from? I don't know if I'm just being dense. Join the family is cute, but it has to like be more clear that they're like a cohesive set or a collection or something. Unless, I mean, this tweet could have like a picture of like the coffee maker and the juicer together. Okay, that could work. Text only is a little bit less clear. This is a comment. Oh, wait. Lawrence says, this is a comment. This is not a recording. You're doing fine. It is a recording though, because it's going to be live and I'm going to get comments for the rest of time telling people or people telling me that I ramble too much. They will say it. Okay. The internet is a squirrel place, you guys. I always knew I was the best looking one in the family, but Juicer doesn't believe me. Now, no, I'm not imagining it. This is a little shady because it's like the coffee makers calling out that the juicer is ugly, which isn't probably what the brand wants to say. I think that you have to be careful about that, I would say. That's my only little comment on here. Okay. Continuing on. Instruction manual. How to brew the perfect cup of coffee. Just looking at this, right? This looks like not a list, not a short boom, 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 ultra bulletproof. This looks more like a blog that didn't quite get blogified enough. It's like half and half. So really make sure that with the technical writing side of things, you're in a completely different writing space, different writing style, and you do it differently. Lawrence, I wonder how many of us bought a Smeg coffee maker. I personally have not bought one, but maybe I should after I do this. If you do, here's my plug, okay? In that video, I have a affiliate link for Amazon. So if you click that affiliate link, then I can get some pennies, I swear to you guys. And it doesn't change anything for you. So always click the links in my description if you want to help me out. Okay, choose your coffee bean roast. This would be like, you know, because again, like formatting is important with instruction manuals. There really are no right or wrong choices when choosing your preferred coffee bean roast. It's all down to personal taste. I would put it ash here because it's like the little tag on the back of the sentence. Make sure the beans are fresh and of high quality. It's probably more of an American phrasing, but I wouldn't say of high quality. They just are high quality. After your beans have cooled, why were they hot? That's a big question that I have. Do you roast your own beans? I don't know. Okay, that's confusing. Place them in your grinder. Smaller grinds will give your coffee a fuller flavor. Again, this is purely America here. I'm just got to go USA. Larger grinds will pack a punch. So here you're being too fun. You're just having too much fun with this. Your style is too like markety. And this is, we are in technical writing mode. Once you are happy with your grind, which again, subjective, place it directly into Smeg's coffee filter. There is no need for troublesome sloppy paper ones. Again, this is marketing talk, but that's not being technical. Place your filtered water into Smeg's water reservoir. And wait, that's not to say that I don't think a brand's voice can come through in technical writing. Like if your brand voice is incredibly warm and supportive and friendly, like you can write in a way that's not cold or like sterile, but that's different than actually having marketing speak or trying to like force awareness of like how you see your product. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Like the brand's tone or their writing voice is again different than the actual marketing claims that you're writing. And in the case of technical writing like this instruction manual, that's not where the marketing goes. I almost think people would like, I don't know, have a bad knee-jerk reaction to it. If like you've already bought the coffee maker and you just want to get going, you just want to figure out how to use it, you're probably already a little annoyed if you have to open up the instruction manual and figure out how to use it, because I think naturally we all just want to take it out of the box and just do it. Otherwise, that's not considered user-friendly. And so if you're already in that like, oh, this is annoying, I just want to figure out how to brew a stupid cup of coffee, and your instruction manual is like praising itself, I would personally feel a little annoyed. Like, I already bought the damn thing. Stop trying to sell to me. Just tell me how to make my cup of coffee. I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but that's personally how I would feel if I read that. And that's kind of why I think that way. Hello, this is so small. I'm so sorry. Bitburen. Hello. And John, hello as well. And Lawrence. Yes, I agree. Technical writing is cold to the point. It doesn't have to be cold, again, if your brand voice is warm. There are little ways that you can inflect that like kindness or personality or understanding or empathy. Like those can come through, but we don't have to tell a story in this kind of writing. Okay, and we're just gonna skip over. Okay, radio script. I am going to cut almost all this out because I just have a couple comments to prove my point here. So with her radio script, we have a cheerful spoken American female, possibly with a Southern twang, and she announces, we definitely don't need both of these punctuation together. Are you tired of the crazy Irish family that lives next door? Already a big, from your lingo, I assume you're from the UK. We just got to be careful about calling out, like, you know, people's ethnicities, cultures, making fun of their language habits. I would be real careful about this, and I would tread very lightly, even if you're like marketing this in an Irish audience, because I'm going to tell you right now that the way this reads is that it's like crazy Irish folks are messy and loud and obnoxious, and the clean, pristine American comes in to save the day and offer them the solution that they've been waiting for. And I think that that's like big danger zone. So we're going to just be really aware of that. And I'm not like calling you out for any reason. I'm just saying we got to be incredibly careful, tread lightly. Yeah, I figured you're from Ireland. I'm not like calling you out here. We're just saying that's like big danger zone here. Okay. So you're describing the scene, you know, loud, crazy Irish family. You're Irish. I get it. Parents are trying to get the kids out the door. Everyone's running late. Dad's trying to make a cup of coffee. So all of this is not sound. So this is a radio ad. So like the fact that everyone's running late and he's trying to make an instant cup of coffee, the kettle is taking too long to boil and boils over. Like you would have to describe the actual sounds that are coming through with that. And make sure that that's like actually descriptive in a way that a radio ad maker could like follow. Thank you, Lauren. You're fine. And glad you were brave enough for Carrie to dismember you. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to like be direct and honest without, please don't. Yeah, all love. Okay. And Merv said, yeah. Okay. Moving on. Dad scalded himself. Did the king of the leprechauns dance on your head last night? Yeah. Okay. Moving on. You're Irish. I get it. I'm not. I don't feel great reading that. Fred Nickdom, ye thieving we get. You guys, I'm cracking up. Okay. So again, not radio mode here. Tearful spoken American lady walks over to the kitchen bench and places down the Smeg coffee machine and juicer. So we would say like tap, tap, tap of foots, and then like placing a heavy item. Like those are the sounds that people would be hearing. Again, she switches on both machines, switch, and the light aroma of freshly ground coffee fills the air. That's not going to translate into a radio ad, my friend. So we've got to completely rethink it. And again, I mean, I'm sure you've never written a radio ad. I've never written a radio ad, but we have to think about where this is actually going to be published and where it's going to reach an audience. And where is this comment? Anne, thanks for taking one for the team. You're the real MVP. Yes, you are, Anne, and I love you to death. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. American lady hands mom and dad a cup of coffee. American lady, freshly ground by Smeg. And then we clink 2 tall glasses filled with freshly squeezed orange juice. But again, on radio, they have no way of knowing that this is orange juice. So how is that going to come through? Freshly squeezed by Smeg. You know, if you put the American lady comment before freshly squeezed by Smeg, and then like say, I don't know, enjoy the fresh pulp-free orange juice that came out of your Smeg maker, right? Like we get the concept. I don't need to, whatever. Peace and serenity return to the family home. The Smeg family, where we're swinging the 50s into the future and bringing peace and serenity to your daily routines. So in a nutshell, the concept of your radio ad, we're going to drill into the actual concept here, is that Smeg works so well. I'm so sorry. I've been talking so much. I'm like unable to function. Smeg works so well that like the chaos of daily life comes to order because all of a sudden you don't have to worry about your ground coffee, or not ground, it doesn't ground it for you, but your freshly brewed coffee, and you don't have to worry about your orange juice. Because those are like the points of problem that Smeg can actually solve, right? And so the fact that with your description of this family, their problems are not really the coffee and it's not really the orange juice. It's like the kids running around and their alarms were late and that they are going to be late for school. And like, there's all this other stuff this Smeg can't solve. And so again, direct is probably my biggest word for all of this in terms of like your actual strategy and even your writing style, that you've got to focus on the pain point that can actually be solved by the product or the brand. And that story there is where things make the most sense. Awesome. Iris, I don't know how to say your name, but I'm so glad that you did this. She said that, I assume it's a girl, I'm so sorry if you're a boy, subscribed for a day when they submitted this, and they only did the tweet, but that's totally cool. So they said, still on the fence, add ambiance to your boredom coffee break, #retro style, #filter coffee. I think the still on the fence thing is like, obviously the psychology of what the brand wants to talk about. They want, the point of this tweet is to get people who are thinking about converting to convert. Obviously you're like, that's the marketing element here, or the angle. But we've got to make this more user centric because they're reading it and they have something going on in their life that puts them on the fence for conversion, but only the brand is thinking about it from a conversion standpoint. I hope this makes sense. So instead I would say like, scrolling through Twitter, tired of scrolling through Twitter and staring at an ugly room, right? Like, because that's where they are. You're like predicting their experience. So you're like tired of scrolling through Twitter. Oh, bye Merv. Thank you for being here. Tired of scrolling through Twitter and staring at an ugly coffee maker. Like that's where they're at. Then like that's why they're still on the fence, because they don't want to invest or whatever. That is more user focused instead of brand focused. Add ambiance to your coffee break. And there's probably a better word than ambiance here. Interest, spunk, like something. But yes, that brings a little more like real life to the tweet instead of just, I am a brand who's trying to connect with people. Make it a little more real. Lawrence, my dude, you're still here. Let's talk about you. So he doesn't ever answer any question. Really? He doesn't ever answer any question. Like not a joke. So he said he'd been subscribed for 12 years. So we're just going to say he's basically been subscribed forever. And thank you. Okay. This is also a little long, so I'm going to try to like pare it down a little bit. And as far as I know, you, Lawrence, come from a journalistic background and a newspaper background. So this style of writing is a bit different than mine, which again is kind of the point of this whole thing, is that all of these different areas of writing, of copywriting, of content writing, of journalistic reporting have different styles of writing. And that ideally we want to kind of have the flexibility to cross those different categories and be flexible to transform your writing style to fit. So this is called Maybe I Should Become a Smeg Barista. Percy Downfield had 3 articles to submit in a 24-hour window. He typed till midnight. This is just style-wise. That's cool. Collapsed on his bed, and at 3 a.m., and I would put at 3 a.m., oops, wrong side, sent the articles to acmefreelancers.com. For his first article, Percy... I would put that there. For his first article, Percy rushed to interview a Walk for Life group, and I put this because it's a non-important word, so we don't have to capitalize it. A Walk for Life group raising money to drill a water well for a village in Africa. He couldn't find the walkers. They were together. This, I think, is like a newspapery thing because you just want to like trim as much as possible. But it's like he was told they would gather. Oops. But they weren't there. Like that would be a little more like story kind of linguist of how we organize this. Oh, I'm sorry, Lawrence. Now I feel like Anne, but I've had editors from hell, so do your worst, watching with interest. I forgot I wrote this. Love it. I'll leave this up in case you want to read it. Okay. He dialed information and was told the number was unlisted. He frantically drove around in circles looking for a group of people walking. So this point here like should happen at the end, right? He sent the articles, but for the first one, then we're like going back in time of like what happened. So unless you're going to make that like going back in time part, I would put this later. I just wouldn't get to it yet. Or maybe preface that like the mistakes and disasters of the day would lead him to type until 6 a.m. You know, I don't know, make it more of a future forecast of interest rather than like jumping whatever. Oh, Eris, I'm so glad you're here and you got to hear that. Good. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Where was I? Maybe he had the wrong park. He saw 2 young women walking along the sidewalk, stopped and called out to them. Hello, are you raising money for wells in Africa? The 2 young women gave Percy a haughty twin glance. I assume that you mean like they both gave the same glance. So instead, I would say both gave Percy a haughty glance. I feel like that's just more clear. Get lost, creep, one called back. Find a better line, loser, called the other. Percy gave up. He had to be at a high school football game. So this feels like a new idea related to that. I'm a big believer in, spacing things out, giving your visual clarity. He needed maybe to be at a high school football game. Hey, Cigar, I see your message, but it's not really on our topic right now. And I'm not customer service, so I'm not going to respond to it right now. He needed to be at a high school football game. He didn't understand football, but he had to write about it. And I think I like this concept, but how could we do it so that we're not saying like he in a row? Yeah, a little more creative spin on the way that we arrange our sentences. Football was a funny shaped, because it's like one thing, a funny shaped brown, comma, brown oblong thing. One person threw, then everyone else piled on top of and each other. So the sentence kind of like doesn't go where I think it is. So I would have to rework the punctuation for that. He was sure he could make a story out of that. Right? Anytime we're saying that or they or them or those or whatever, you're assuming that the person reading it remembers what the heck you're talking about and can make that link. And so especially since that sentence before, it was a little like confusing to me. I would be more direct out of that. Like he was sure he could make a story out of those convoluted game rules or the game without a clear purpose or something like that. That would just be more direct. Can we all say direct together? That's the word of this live stream. The game was inexplicable. The home team lost 58-3. Inexplicable is it's a word, and I think it's technically correct, but I don't think it's the right word for this. And again, like newspaper speak is all like short, super chunky sentences, but I feel like across the board, most of this style of writing we're looking for in this short story element would be more conversational, flowy, how you would actually say it. And the score of that football game was that score, and the home team lost. Yeah, maybe. I think that's still not super clear. Oh, maybe you're saying that that's what really happened in real life? Okay, that's cool. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. For the next article, he attended a Cowgirls? No, I don't know. Rodeo final where he was assured by a 20-something eager to please young woman. I would put a comma there because they're two separate descriptors. Eager to please young woman in a cowboy hat that he'd get the rodeo results at 5 p.m. on the dot. I don't actually know this either, but I always write AM, PM without the dots. I don't know if that's a thing or not. Someone can call me out. Percy then rushed to a toxic roundup where volunteer firefighters, a toxic roundup. Oh, where firefighters unloaded toxic chemicals and paints from homeowners lined up in their vehicles. Okay, I understand what that is. I was confused by the roundup phrase because I thought it was related to the rodeo. Okay, continuing. So in a nutshell, he's having a bad day, right? It's very clever. There's some cute dialogue. This is fun and chaotic and cool. So he's having a hard time. I'm on a deadline. Sorry, said the female voice before hanging up. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So now we get to he wrote. So this is the point where the staying up till 6 a.m. point from the beginning matches now. So he wrote about football from a football's point of view, looking high over a field and caught by a stranger so disliked by people that they piled on top of him. So without the that, I was thinking like so disliked by people as they piled on top of him, but he is so disliked by people that in response to them disliking him, they piled on top of him. He wrote the cowgirls are pretty, but unreliable. I would put a comma there. Is that wrong? He wrote never to ask girls walking down sidewalks if they were walking for water in Africa. And then he got this grocery list from the fire chief, but I skipped that point, so that's not funny to you guys. And okay, maybe freelancing is not for me. Maybe I should become a Smeg barista. Dear Lord, Lawrence, I think this is adorable. Obviously, we're going to get that out of the way. It's cute. It's a very funny story. But come on, man, the Smeg barista thing never was in it. Like, the Smeg did not happen. And so even if you like started, the story with he went over to a friend's house for meeting him in the morning to chat about their day, or like his newspaper boss had a Smeg on his coffee table or something, or not his coffee table, his desk. Then, like, at the very least, we've got Smeg at the beginning and Smeg at the end. But, like, that was so out of left field that, like, it just does not. I get it. But it was like when you submit the wrong, or you're trying to like reuse an assignment from a separate class that you submit to your professor and you just like chuck a little line at the end to like tie it in. And they're like, dude, you can't reuse this. Hey, Misham, you can definitely send it in that link in the description in the video, but I won't be going through it right now if you didn't send it already. Okay, your tweet, moving right along. Be smug, drink smeg, the world's prettiest coffee maker. I love this. I'm actually, oh no, I didn't. Okay, we're going to take that out. Be smug, drink smeg. Literally gorgeous. I love that. And it's like leaning into the, like, obviously this is a hella overpriced coffee maker and people are only buying it for the looks. Like that's the brand's like, we understand. That's okay. Be smug, drink smeg, the world's prettiest coffee maker. I love it. But if we repeat hashtag drink smeg, it like loses the punch. Okay, this is a big old joke, so I'm going to warn you right now, and we're gonna blow through it. Smeg, the modern coffee machine. This does not need to be capitalized, you guys. Why is everyone capitalizing everything? Can be set to voice commands. Yes, Michaela, I love the smug smeg thing. It's so cute. To brew at your desired morning hour, say brew, then say the time. For example, brew 5 a.m. To change settings, say oink. To brew time, change brew time, say oink oink. And the last 4 digits of your bank savings account. To pour a full cup of coffee, say full cup. To pour a half cup of coffee, say half cup. You know, it'd be funnier, and maybe I'm being stupid, would be to switch those. I think it'd be hilarious. To pour a full cup of coffee, say half cup. To pour a half cup of coffee, say full cup. To pour a hot cup of coffee with cream from the Smeg cream storage container, say full oink, 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 moo. Lawrence, everybody. This is who is my number 1 fans on this channel. This is what's in their head. I love it. Radio script. Obviously, this is not real, so we can't really comment on the technical writing proficiency of this because, like, it's not real, but I love it. Continuing. Honey, have you seen our Smeg coffee maker? I'm also going to tell you right now, I do not get this ad at all. Maybe y'all will explain it to me. Honey, where are you? Sound of door opening. Oh, honey, forgive me. It's the only time I've strayed. Ooh, honey, I had no idea you could brew that way. Sound of door closing. Life is too short not to smeg. Lawrence, my guy. I don't get it. And I mean, I think I get it, but like I don't want to get it. So we're just going to say I don't get it. But for everyone else, my comments previously of like, this isn't going to translate in radio. This will translate in radio. Like everything he wrote comes through with radio-y audio input. And there's none of like visual descriptors and other things that clearly wouldn't happen. So Dan is equally confused or shocked. Lauren says, oh, that's cringy. My dude. And Michaela's just laughing with me, so I'm glad I'm not alone. But life is too short not to smeg. Also a cute little tagline. It's just got to have a story that either makes sense or isn't like, excuse me, what? Bernardo, you said you subscribed for 8 months, which is so nice. Yeah, I believe it translates in radio. The 15 seconds, yes. It's just maybe that's a strategy, you know? Maybe that's your strategy. Okay. Bernardo, you, if you're here, I don't know if you are, you sent me some emails that were totally unrelated to the topic and weren't the style of writing that I was asking for, and were about like kind of problematic smoothie diet. So I don't really want to share that content. But thank you for taking the time to submit something. Moving on to Michaela, who I know is here. Thank you so much, Michaela, for being here and for subscribing for 6+ months and for submitting some content. Okay. Her short story. I slowly opened my eyes, realizing this is probably just a US thing. Realizing I had slept without removing my makeup. I would say and realized. I forgot to. Right, we could just clean it up. I slowly opened my eyes and realized I can't do this without proofreading. Forgot to remove my makeup. Prizing them open through the claggy mascara I was still wearing. So this should be like, that's a comma, and then we have the rest of our sentence. But you don't have that, so I get to the end of that and I think, what? Wait, this isn't familiar. Where am I? So if I'm thinking in my own head and it's like dialogue that I'm saying to myself, I would put that in italics. A muted light came in through the blinds at the window. Not my window. Now that I've read this, I know what you're saying, but the first time I was super confused. But it wasn't my window. Because if you say at the window, not my window, I literally had to read it twice and say, like, what's not my window? Oh, you're realizing it's not my window. Like, you've got to walk the person through it a little more than that because you know what you're saying, but they don't. This wasn't my bed. I looked around this beautiful room. I'd say the beautiful room. And I would also not say beautiful because you can always come up with something better than that. That was decorated in shades of grays and blue. I would say gray and blue, not plural. Plush fabric and tasteful art. So you could link those two sentences together because they're really saying the same thing, and then you don't have to have as many like filler words. Wow, this bedding is luxurious. So again, because we have like some things past tense, some things are present tense, so what you're really saying is that, oops, this is all the same thing. Oh, gosh, come on, Carrie. This is all happening in her thoughts. Wow, this bedding is luxurious. The duvet is light and incredibly puffy. I know. I'm sorry, Dan. I have to change it to US because that's my homeland. Yeah. The duvet is light and incredibly puffy. Hang on, I feel naked. Always 3 dots, space. Where are my clothes? So if you don't have that formatting of realizing she's saying it in her head in real time, it becomes like you just messed up your tenses, but that's not actually what happened. I turned and saw him. We haven't mentioned him yet, so we've got to do that from like, outsider perspective. I turned and saw a man sleeping soundly. I would put this on the other side of this. Next to me. I smiled. Now I remember. And he is still gorgeous in the morning. Now I remember. He's just as gorgeous the next morning. Like, that sentence was confusing when I got stuck at a comma. Again, commas matter so much for pacing of how the person's going to read it and inflect. Now I remember he's just as gorgeous the next morning. But again, unless this was a thought she's actively having, then this would all be in past tense because that's the tone of voice we have. Dark hair, smooth shaven, gorgeous body, and it seems he has great taste in decor. Again, we're lost in our tenses a little bit. I slipped out of the bed so as not to wake him and padded to the bathroom down the hall. While I was making the teal gray marble, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I put it on my naked body, went to the kitchen. Coffee was needed so I could get myself together. Coffee was needed. We can flip that to be more like active or like specific to the person. So like to search for coffee, even just doing that, or like a much needed cup of coffee, that would be more direct in terms of like how we're framing the front of the sentence so that we always have like some action at the front. We had an amazing date last night. I was looking forward to seeing him again. We'd been messaging each other all week and couldn't wait to see each other. This was the first chance our schedules allowed in weeks. So again, little repetition here, which then creates an issue in my head because, you've been messaging each other all week, but you haven't seen each other in weeks. All of a sudden the timeline feels a little bit iffy to me. So again, like repetition is annoying because of how people get stuck in the sentence, but also because you're kind of putting yourself at risk of creating little, I don't know, inconsistencies or something. Like people then compare and then it's easier to spot mistakes. I don't know if that makes sense. He had arranged an uber chic venue and sumptuous tasting menu that was an extra special treat for both of us. Blah, 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 blah. Would you like to join me for some coffee at my place? Okay, we're getting to the smeg here. He offered while we finished our amazing meal. And it would be he had offered because like this was like the night before and you're already in past tense. I would love to, I replied, or at least I would say that to be more clear. We went back to his place. We didn't need the coffee to stay up all night. Saucy. By the way, the coffee was great. How did he make it so good? So you did have coffee? The way I first read this was like, you want to have coffee in my place? And then you go back and like, you don't have a cup of coffee. But I think that what you're saying is, want to go get coffee in my place? You do have a cup of coffee. Then you get to the fun stuff. But that doesn't super translate with the details that you're giving me here. So like the order of events is really crucial, especially when you're looking back and making like ties to something that has already happened and you've already told them. Looking around his sleek and tidy kitchen, I wondered, comma, looking around. That's not its own sentence by itself. And there it was, his Smeg coffee maker. Always put your space after an ellipses. Stylish, beautiful, Oxford comma, forever and always, and elegant. He gets another tick for good taste. I guess I'll keep dating him a bit longer. Lawrence is calling me out. I noticed it, Dan. Good point. I noticed one of her successful writing gigs was for a Kelowna winery with flavor instead of flavor. Yeah, sorry, US. And also, I'm going to defend myself here a little bit. And maybe this is the Americans thinking we're better than everyone else thing, which is very possible. But I've kind of heard or been told or like read or just noticed or just decided for myself, which is very possible, that US English has turned into like the global standard of if you're writing internationally, you want to be using American English norms because that's the most global audience versus if you are in the UK or you're only targeting the UK audience and you would be writing in a UK tone of voice with UK linguistic details because that's for that audience. Same thing if you're in Australia only, you would want to be writing in Australian English. But for international audience, if it's going to be read elsewhere, the American English is the standard. Yeah, Dan, apparently she's dating him for the coffee maker now. I mean, it didn't start that way. Or maybe it did. Maybe she wouldn't have stayed for the night if it hadn't been good coffee. I don't know. So I think that the story takes too long to get to the point, or just like Lawrence's, if you'd brought up the coffee earlier in the story of like that point if they had coffee and then they got to the fun stuff, but that was made clear, then it would be a little more tied in. Just like Lawrence, it's like we added it at the end and it's a cute little tag, but I'm not sure that the story was interesting enough by itself that I would have kept reading it if I hadn't had to, because it's for this. Oh my God, Carrie, blasphemy. I'll hold up a cross and garlic. Canadian spelling is a sore point here. Is there a difference between Canadian and American spelling? I'm be honest with you, I can't think of a single Canadian spelling thing. Please point one out because I don't know it. Yeah, I didn't really realize that there was a difference between Canadian and American English spellings. Or maybe do they just lean toward British? Like, do they have flavor with a U? I don't know. I know what I know, and that's all I know. Moving on to the tweet, we have Smeg, smoothly made and enjoyed graphically. Excuse me. Sophisticated coffee drinkers, enjoy your coffee with a double shot of style. Dripping with style, double espresso, doppio espresso. Okay. Oh, I get it. I literally read it twice and I didn't get it, but now I do. You're saying that this is an acronym. So I would do like this, and then that would make that point come through. Yes, you guys. Okay, I know some of them. I know that Australians say tire instead of tire. I know the UK is flavor with a U. I'm saying with Canadian spelling, does Canada just go to UK styles? That's kind of my question right now. But I'm talking about the tweet, so don't distract me. Smoothly made, enjoyed graphically, SMEG. And now that I realize it's an acronym, which makes sense as a concept, I was going to change it because I was like, enjoyed graphically, and because why does the adverb, is that even an adverb? I don't even know. Smoothly, right, happens before made. Graphically should come before enjoyed so that they match. Smoothly enjoyed, smoothly made, graphically enjoyed. That's how I would write it, because then it has repetition in its phrasing of syllables. Is that even what I'm trying to say? But because you really want it to be the acronym, and that's the point that I didn't understand first, we can't do that. So I would personally change this and just come up with something better that's not that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now because I'm not smart enough, but yes. So I like the concept. I don't think it comes through as well as you mean it to, and that's okay. It would just need some reworking. And if it did, these would really be two different tweets, I would think. And the term graphically, right? When I read it, I was like sexually graphic, like explicitly graphic. But I think you mean like style graphic. So if you have a word like that that has multiple meanings, you've got to be extra clear about leaning into the meaning that you intend them to read it with and giving them like those context clues to make the decision for themselves that makes more sense. Yeah. So Lawrence, I do offer one-on-one advising. So this is definitely some free advice here. It's a high paying donation to you. Yeah. And if you do want to help me out, you could click the what's it called? Super chat button. But no, what's it called? Pressure, obligation. Yeah, Michaela couldn't think of another word. And that makes sense. So just rethink the concept, basically. And then we've got her radio script. We don't have an instruction manual for this one. She said she'd come back to it, and she didn't, but that's A-okay, no problem. And I need to wrap this up anyway. So a radio script is read by a voiceover of a well-spoken man or woman. Hi, would you like some coffee? Jazzy music in the background with the light clatter of coffee cups and saucers. Looks great. Some say that it doesn't, but it does. Oh, sorry. I can't read. Looks matter. That makes way more sense. Some say that it doesn't, but it does. Great design. Looks good. Your taste and your style and your home is an expression of you. The pride you feel when you step into the kitchen and your carefully chosen, well-placed items are easy on the eyes as well as functional. So the pride you feel when you step into your kitchen, this reads as just like before. I don't remember who did it, but like this feels like it should be comma, rest of sentence. The pride you feel when you step into your kitchen makes all the difference, right? That's the function of the beginning of that sentence. So I totally was like, blah, 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 when I get to the end of it, and I never got what that tag like leads into. I also think like carefully chosen, well-placed items feels a little inauthentic, I guess I'd say. I just feel like there's a better way to describe that. Easy on your eye. I would say easy on the eyes, 2 eyes, as well as functional. Again, how can we make it more like concrete? Makes your morning more pleasant and gives you something lovely to look at. Like just saying that is more down to earth, real experiences that is more concrete. It's more like visceral, I guess is the word I would say. Smanx retro design. So I would take that out. Retro coffee maker ticks all the boxes with a classy design. Again, because we'd have that word twice. Don't want that. Rooted in Italian family history combined with age-old know-how for great coffee. Combined with an age-old know-how, because in this case, know-how is your noun, and we need an to describe that. Age-old is the adjective here. It has customizable, programmable. Those would be 2 separate descriptors. So we have a comma. Features for your individual taste and aroma intensity. Brewing options for up to 10 cups. Okay, so here we're just like listing features. Could we make that a little bit cleaner? Or I mean, I did that too, and I didn't really like it. Like I just kind of listed out features, which I shouldn't have. It was a little bit too like boring, but how can you give it a little more punch? You can tailor your coffee to you and your guests' requirements while doing your bit for the environment. So doing your bit for the environment is a good feature, but where did that come from? Because we didn't say anything yet. Oh, reusable filter. So instead, we need to link reusable filter with the environment and put those two things closer. Because if I'm just hearing this come through the radio, and I heard a big long list of things, but I didn't really pick up on reusable filter, which I didn't even when just reading it. Or maybe I skipped the rest of my sentence. I don't know. And then I got to doing a bit for the environment, and I think, wait, what was the feature that already happened? They've already told me I've forgotten or I didn't pay attention. Link them together so that when they hear them, they happen side by side. Enjoy your coffee, knowing I don't like this. And I would just say, I don't know. I would almost even take this out because you already said it up here, and I'm not sure. I mean, especially in radio, which is a different medium than writing, reading, whatever, visual. It's not the end of the world to repeat something, especially if it's really important, it's worth repeating. But you already just said it. I don't know if it's really that important. Again, design doesn't need to be there. Your Smeg Retro Coffee Maker has a well-earned place in the smart heart of your much-loved home. Again, this just doesn't feel like really authentic to me and like how you're describing it. I don't know. I feel like you've got to pick an angle. So right now you're just kind of describing functions. I did like this paragraph a lot. And I liked, here's the real issue. We have the point. Great design looks good. And that's what you're going to come back to at the end. Simply put, great design looks good. But then you get into like all this other stuff that's not on topic. You get into the Italian history, the age-old knowledge. We've got the programmable features, which I assume is what you mean by like the smart home is the programmable part. But again, those two things are so separate that I have a hard time remembering where they line up. And we've got the environment, again, with reusable filter, which needs to be put together so that I link them in my mind. But they don't really have to do with great design looks good. And that's what the whole point of this ad is about. So making sure that you have a clear picture of like, kind of like the topic, what's it called? Your thesis sentence or whatever. If you're like writing an essay, like the one sentence that like sums everything up and it all has to link back to your thesis sentence. That's the idea with this great design looks good, and everything else that goes with it needs to support that point. And then go to smeg.com for the story of how we keep design nostalgia and classy sophistication alive. So if the design nostalgia is what you want to do, design nostalgia is more closely linked with great design looks good. But that story isn't coming through right now. It is, of course, better than shop on Amazon, like I think Deb said. That is less direct and harder for someone to do if they heard on the radio and then to go do. And then jazzy music fades. So here we only have jazzy music really at the beginning. The other little detail is that with the light clatter of coffee cups and saucers, based on that audio input, I'm thinking like cafe, but you're actually talking about your kitchen. The odds of you having enough people in your home to like clatter coffee cups and stuff and be serving with saucers at all in like a realistic, like you're just making your morning cup of coffee. Those things don't jive with the audio input and the actual use or story that you're telling. So make sure that you're just a little bit more specific about the audio input as well so that it makes sense. Oh my gosh, you guys, can we believe we made it to the end of this list? Thank you guys so much for working on this and submitting this. I think this was so much fun, and it was really cool chatting with you all, and I am just really glad that we got to do this. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. If anyone has any like last minute questions about this, I guess I'll answer them. If they're super off topic, I'm not going to answer them, but it was really cool. And I hope that what I've said comes through and is like, makes sense. Like I said, I get really self-conscious sometimes about like just not knowing, is it an adverb? Is it the subject of a sentence? Like I'm honestly not great at the defining minutiae of like grammar, but I feel like I have a really good sense of how to use it and how to like put it into practice. So hopefully me translating that made sense whenever I had something to say. Thank you guys so much again, Anne, for being here. Michaela, I think everyone was here that did it. Michaela was here. Lawrence was here. Bernardo, I didn't read his. Eris was here when I read hers. So yeah, I'm so glad that you guys, showed up and took part and enjoyed it too. Deb was here. That's right. Yeah, I really, really appreciate it. And I'm glad you guys are here. And Dan says he needs a coffee now. I do too. I honestly, last thing, little story. I woke up, it's 9:00 here, or it was when I started in the morning on the West Coast. And so I woke up and I was like, well, and you guys have seen my life, my day in the life. I don't get up super early. I don't start my day very fast. And so at 8, I was like, okay, I'll go get my laptop set up for this. And then of course my camera didn't work and my mic wouldn't plug in. And I was about to like have a panic attack because literally nothing was working and I had already gotten it set up. And then I realized it was because my computer had updated and I had to re-download like everything. And it was so frustrating. So I'm really glad that I got this set up on time. We got to do it. It turned out great. Oh, yeah. It's a morning. I have stuff to do today too. So, okay. July Fit. Yeah. I've seen your username a bunch. Thank you guys for being here. Haven't had to diagram a sentence in years. Yeah. I think it was literally 8th grade. I was in Miss Whipplewell's class. 8th grade was the last time I think I've had to diagram a sentence of any kind. Like even in AP classes in high school, I didn't have to do that. It was just about like, can you use it? This has been very smeg. This has been the smeggiest session I've ever been a part of. Me as well. Again, if you want to buy a smeg coffee maker, use my Amazon link under the video description, and then Amazon and smeg by default will hand me a couple pennies. But I don't know if anyone actually wants a smeg coffee maker. It seems pretty expensive unless you want to be smug, drink smeg. And then, you get the point of it. So I'm going to log off now. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you are watching this live, you're amazing. And you've been very, very fun to chat with. If you're watching this recorded, you're also amazing. Just a little bit late to the party, but that's okay. Hopefully I can have another one of these sometime soon. I'm really glad you guys took part. I might do another like submission kind of video. And then if I do, I definitely will do another going through it. And I think I'm going to start doing every week Sunday at 9 a.m. videos. So, or like lives. So I'll come up with a new idea for next week's little hangout. It probably won't be as long. But next week, I think we'll hang out again Sunday at 9. That's a good time for everybody, for me. Next subject can be tea. Yeah, maybe we'll have a little tea party next week and chat. I think here, last thing, the 12 of you, 11 of you are here. I lost one. Comment a question that you think would be interesting to talk about next week, please. One question that you think would be interesting that you either have or that you think just would be, should I do an Ask Me Anything? Should I talk more about my experience getting into Fiverr? Should I don't know. I don't know what you guys are interested to hear, but I'm curious if you can share one little question that you'd be interested in. So leave that in the comments below and I will see you next week. Adios. Have a lovely day. I love you all. Bye.